Hi again. Today I am going to show you how I make my gluten-free pizza crust. It's delicious, very easy to make. You only need a few ingredients and you're gonna love it. So let me show you what you're gonna need and let's get started. So to make your gluten-free pizza crust or pizza dough, you're gonna need a few things. And again, the recipe will be below the video, the full recipe and instructions as always. You are gonna need a few things, all right? The first thing you're gonna need is some warm water. And this is about 2 cups of warm water. And I'll tell you a little bit about this water. This is actually 2 cups of water that I use to boil 1 medium-sized potato. And as you can see the potato here, all I did was, after it was fork tender enough to mash, I mashed it and I have it in my little container here waiting. So it's gonna be about 1 medium size of potato. And I'm using a russet potato, all right? It's usually more starchy, so it's gonna be the best kind to use because of the starch. It's gonna help hold this crust together. So I cooked it in 2 cups of water. So this is the starchy water. As you can see, it is kind of starchy. And I've put it to the side and let it come to not room temperature, but warm temperature. You don't want it to be any more than 110 degrees, okay? Because we're gonna use yeast, and we want the yeast to be able to grow or to activate. We don't want to kill it. If your water's too hot, you will kill it, okay? So that's the first thing I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go ahead and sprinkle my yeast. And this is 1 packet of instant dry yeast. Okay, that's what that is. Instant dry yeast doesn't really need to be activated beforehand, but I always like to do that because I want to kind of test and make sure that my water's, it's good and my yeast has not expired, because that could happen. So if you ever get yeast that doesn't bubble up, you see those bubbles? Get a little bit closer. See those bubbles around the liquid? That means that the yeast is good. So that's what you want to see. So that's the first thing we want to do. Okay, and I'll tell you about a couple more things I have here. So we're going to go ahead and let that sit for a moment. The other ingredients that you're going to need is you're going to need 1 egg, just 1 regular large egg. You're also going to need, in this container here, I have 1 teaspoon of salt, a 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder, and a 1/4 teaspoon of dry Italian seasoning. That's going to give it a lot of nice flavor to this crust, all right? The other thing I have here, very, very important, is some quinoa. And this is a 1/2 cup of cooked quinoa, which I've cooked just in plain old water till it became tender, and I let it cool a little bit to the side. Now today I am using this gluten-free flour, Pillsbury brand. It's all-purpose gluten-free flour, and I find it's actually the best flour to use for this type of recipe, for the crust of the pizza. It's the most similar to the actual regular flour. So what I did was I added 2.5 cups of that flour, my gluten-free all-purpose flour, to my standing mixer. So that's what that is, 2.5 cups, okay? Now, the first thing we're gonna do, oh, I forgot to tell you, we need to sweeten up this dough a little bit, so I have 1 tablespoon of honey. All right, so really important. We always need a little bit of sweet when you're baking, even if it's salty. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and add my spices. And this is just my salt, my garlic powder, and my Italian seasoning. Now you can use whatever seasoning you like. I mean, I feel Italian seasoning just has a lot of the great combination taste that you're looking for in a pizza, so that helps. And the garlic powder gives it an extra boost as well. But if you want to use just a garlic powder or just oregano or basil, that's fine, okay? But that's the combination I'm using today, which is wonderful. Okay, so to that, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and start adding the rest of my things. I'm gonna use my paddle attachment today. It's really just the best one. We're just blending this. So I'm just gonna give this a little bit of a whirl here, just to combine it a little bit. That's it. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and start adding all of the rest of my ingredients. You really don't have to, you know, do any separate mixing with this recipe. It really is just, you know, just dumping everything in and mixing it. So first thing I'm going to add is I'm going to go ahead and add my starchy water with my yeast. As you can see, it's already kind of foamed up. And just go ahead and add the 2 cups. Okay, perfect. Now I'm going to go ahead and add my egg. My potato. My quinoa. Now, quinoa or quinoa, everybody says it different. I'm using quinoa that is a blend of several types, so that's why you can see there's different colors. So you're welcome to use just the red one or even just the plain one that's like, you know, light brown or honey looking color. That's fine. This is the one I have, and they're all wonderful, so it's up to you depending on which one you want to use, okay? You don't have to use the one I'm using. Okay, so the last thing I'm going to add is my honey. Now the honey, if you want to use honey like I'm doing here, I think it's the perfect sweetener. But you're also welcome to use sugar. If you want to use sugar, you can use granulated sugar. The same amount, 1 tablespoon is fine. Okay? All right, so now that we have everything in there, we're going to go ahead and mix everything together. And just start it out on a low speed. It looks beautiful already, and I can already smell the herbs in there, the garlic powder and the Italian seasoning. You don't really have to mix it too much, just to combine everything. And the one thing you want to keep in mind with the gluten-free flour and the gluten-free baking, when you're mixing, it's going to look totally different, okay, than your regular, you know, bread or whatever other baking you're going to do. It's going to look totally different. If we were making a regular pizza dough, this basically would not look the same. You know, we use a dough hook, and the dough actually ends up attaching to the top part of the dough hook, and you have to knead it for about 10 minutes to develop the gluten and then, you know, and all that. But with this gluten-free flour, we don't need to do that. So we just mix it, and it's going to look like a cake batter, pretty much. Let me show you what it looks like. I think it looks more like a mashed potato batter. Okay, and that's fine. That's how it's supposed to look, okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead at this point and take it out of the mixer. You wanna have a bowl, medium-sized bowl, ready to just put it in there with a little bit of oil and let it sit. You can do that. I actually have left it in the same bowl and just covered it for about an hour, 45 minutes to an hour, and you're gonna see the dough is gonna kind of, you know, get more spongy, and it's going to grow a little bit, just like it does, like the yeast makes the regular dough grow or rise. And so at that point, I'm gonna show you what it looks like, and then we're gonna go ahead and show you the next step. So after my dough had risen for a little bit, I left it covered for about 45 minutes. All I did was I have this pizza stone, and I have put a little bit of butter, just like brushed a little bit of butter on the pizza stone, and I put the dough over it. And what I'm doing now is I'm just, you know, just kind of giving it the shape that we want. We don't want it to be too thick. And as you can see, I'm just doing it with the spatula. You can have it as thick as you want, of course, but you know, the larger you make it, the more pizza you're gonna get. More surface to put toppings on. And the dough, as you can see, the dough got a little bit spongier. Okay, it just got a little bit more of a sponge to it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do that. If you find that this process is a little bit difficult because the dough is going to be pretty sticky, again, it's not going to be like your traditional pizza dough. You can always get a little bit of water, put a little bit of water on your spatula, and just, you know, kind of make it easier to smooth out. But I mean, it just takes a little bit of patience, and as you can see, it really looks beautiful. You can see all the quinoa going through the dough. So I'm aiming at making it just as large, trying to make it as large as my pizza stone, which is about 12 inches round. So that's going to be, you know, a good amount of surface for my toppings. And so at this point, what I'm going to do is I have my oven preheated at 375 because we're going to bake this this dough alone without the toppings. We're going to pre-bake it for about 20 minutes, okay? 15 to 20 minutes depending on your oven. And you want to put this on the bottom rack. It's gonna get crispier, and that's the reason also for the butter. It's gonna help this dough get really nice and crispy. So you're gonna put that in your oven for about a good 15 to 20 minutes, or once it starts getting a little bit golden on the sides or around, then you're gonna take it out, and you can put whatever toppings you want on there before you bake it again. And I'll show you what that looks like as soon as it's done. So this is what my pizza dough looks like after I have pre-baked it in the oven for about 20 minutes. And you can see some of the edges started getting crispy there. So I got, see that? But it's not 100% cooked, okay? And it does look a little funny, a little weird, okay? But remember, this is not regular flour. This is gluten-free flour. So it's gonna look like this. But it has started to crisp up under. Let me see if I can get an idea there of what it's starting to crisp up. And it's not 100% done, of course. So we have pre-baked this for about 20 minutes at 375 degrees. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go ahead and add my toppings, and you can add whatever you like. I'm doing vegetables, and I have some fresh mozzarella cheese. So I'm gonna go ahead and add the sauce. I don't like a lot of sauce on my pizza. So, I mean, I'm just gonna add a little bit, and you know, this is to preference, to taste. You guys can add whatever you want, and as much as you like, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and just spread it out a little bit. I like to leave a little bit of the edge without the sauce. And that's up to you, like I said. If you want to add more sauce, that's fine. I'm just using a regular marinara sauce from a jar, okay? So just use that. If you don't want to use sauce, you don't have to. You can just put a little bit of olive oil over it. But I'm using that sauce. And now I'm going to go ahead and add my toppings. And I'm going to start out with my red peppers. I'm sorry, my fresh yellow peppers. And I have some red ones too. Now once we put our toppings on the pizza, we're going to have to bake it again so we can finish baking the crust. And of course we want to cook the ingredients a little bit. We have some onions, and this is all vegetable that I'm doing. That's just my preference. If you wanted to do all cheese, you can do that. I just think this is yummy and delicious. with the vegetables. I'm just trying to get them as even as possible. Mushroom. These are some mini portobellos, which I love. Now, when we bake this pizza, or for the rest, you know, the other, probably about another 20 minutes, you want to bake it at 400 degrees, okay? So you want to increase the temperature of your oven. You're going to put it on 400 degrees. So you can get the nice crisp edges on the pizza, and you get your cheese to melt. I'm using fresh mozzarella. If you rather use the shredded mozzarella kind or any other cheese that you like, by all means, please do so. It's entirely up to you. You really want to just get creative with the pizza. And put whatever you want on it. You can also sprinkle a little bit more of Italian seasoning when it comes out of the oven. Again, it's to taste. Okay, so this is what it looks like, all with the toppings and everything, the cheese, everything that I've wanted to put on it. I'm going to put it back in the oven for about another 20 minutes, and then I'll show you what that looks like. So this is what my pizza looks like after I have baked it for about 20 minutes at that 400 degree oven on my pizza stone. It looks delicious, smells delicious. You can see that the crust completely cooked and it's nice and crusty. The cheese has melted, it smells delicious. I wanted to mention, if you guys do not have a pizza stone, you really need to get one. It really is the best way to get your pizza to the crispiness that you want. If you don't have one, just use a regular pan. Just make sure that you flour it a little bit before you put the pizza on there to bake. Or if you have some cornmeal or some really fine cornmeal, you can put that on top, just, you know, to make sure it doesn't stick. So that's what my pizza looks like. The only thing else I want to do is maybe put a little bit of Parmesan cheese just to finish it. And this is grated Parmesan cheese. You don't have to do this. This is just for my extra cheesiness. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and cut a slice so you can see what it looks like, and you can hear the crispiness. Deliciousness. So this is going to give you about a 12-inch pizza. Okay. So there goes my first slice. I just want you to see what it looks like. Oops, I didn't cut it all the way. Make sure it's cut all the way. And this is really a nice alternative to the regular pizza. Okay, so it just takes a little bit of work, but if you are gluten-free, you know you've been wanting some pizza, this is what you want to do. This is what you want to make and eat. You see that? Oh, nice and crusty and delicious. Let me see if you can see the bottom also got nice and crisp. So as you can see, this is my delicious recipe for my gluten-free pizza. I hope you guys try it. I hope you guys really get in your kitchen and make this pizza. It's really delicious. And just kind of play around with the toppings for whatever you like, but this just happens to be my favorite. So enjoy. Please get in your kitchen and make this, and you will love it, you will enjoy it, and so will the rest of your family. Bye-bye. Thank you for watching.